The audience is never going to care more about your stuff than you do.
Right.
The higher the bar of your caring, the more room there is for the audience to catch up with it. And so I think when people see how passionate and how dedicated you are to doing this, that is definitely a piece of it. And it makes people, and by the way, it's like anything, right? Like any story, an athlete or whatever, people are more drawn to the athlete that busted their ass than the athlete who just happens to have natural ability and phones it in. So even if that one's a better player, those two things are a huge piece of why people root for you and anyone else that does sort of similar. The other thing I think that's really interesting, and I'm going to guess this was not sort of intentional or strategic, but looking back on it, it actually seems sort of brilliant to me. You have very openly from the very beginning talked about and played up how much research you do. And I think a lot of people wouldn't do that, even if they did the research, because they'd want to seem like I just have this knack for coming up with amazing. They don't want to reveal the trick. They go, that guy asks amazing questions. I don't know how he does it.
Oh,
Versus you who are like, it's not a trick. This is how I do it. I do all this research. And doing that actually in the context of this conversation reveals your dedication to it.
yeah.
Shows I'm not the guy that just is sort of naturally able to wing it and whatever, which again, none of this I think is intentional, but you can see like whenever you come up, I think like people, and even when people responding, giving you suggestions for your bio, it's like they're all like, does so much research. Well, where does that come from? That comes from you revealing. And again, I think that you view that as a strength and it's a strength of yours and a strength of the show. But I don't know that it's such an obvious thing for lots of other people to sort of reveal that they do. They don't necessarily want to show how it's done.